Have you ever tried to hold water in your hands? You scoop it up, tighten your grip, and the more you squeeze, the faster it slips through your fingers. Life works the same way. The tighter we hold on to what's not meant for us, people, plans, outcomes, old versions of ourselves, the faster peace escapes us. You see, the universe doesn't take things from you to punish you. It removes what's not aligned with your higher path, so your hands can be free to receive what truly belongs to you. We live in a world that celebrates control over time, relationships, success, even emotions. We're taught that letting go means losing, that surrender is weakness. But in truth, letting go is the highest form of strength. It says, I trust life enough to stop fighting what it's trying to teach me. It's not giving up, it's giving over, handing your burdens to something wiser than your own fears. When you cling to what's not meant for you, you close yourself off to what is. The universe whispers through discomfort. This path isn't yours anymore. Yet we resist, patching up old stories, replaying what could have been, afraid to face the blank page ahead. But the blank page is where creation begins. Every ending is just a pause before a more authentic chapter starts to write itself. If something or someone is drifting away from your life, bless it. Don't chase it. Don't beg it to stay. Everything that's meant for you has a frequency, and what vibrates for your highest good will always find its way back. You cannot lose what's truly aligned with your soul. And when you stop clutching the closed door, you finally notice the light spilling in from the one that's open. So let go, not with bitterness, but with gratitude. Let go of the job that drains your spirit, the relationship that no longer grows you, the expectations that keep you small. The space you clear will not remain empty. It will be filled by peace, purpose, and people who resonate with your truth. Life is always replacing what's heavy with what helps you rise. If you let it. Letting go is not losing, it's trusting life's natural rhythm. Most people believe that to let go is to admit defeat. That it means you failed to hold on, failed to control, failed to make things turn out the way you wanted. But the truth is, letting go is not a form of losing at all. It is an act of deep faith in something greater than our limited understanding. When you let go, you are saying to life, I trust that what's unfolding, even if I can't see it yet, has meaning. I trust that life knows what it's doing. From the time we are children, we are conditioned to grasp. We cling to toys, friendships, achievements, and later to careers, identities, and people. We are taught that holding on equals strength, that those who never give up are the ones who win. But there is a difference between persistence and attachment. Persistence means continuing to grow, evolve, and move toward purpose. Attachment means refusing to move when life is calling you elsewhere. The river that stops flowing begins to rot. In the same way, when we refuse to release what no longer belongs in our lives, stagnation replaces peace. Imagine a tree in autumn trying to hold on to its leaves. It resists the natural rhythm of the seasons, terrified that without the leaves, it will be bare and forgotten. But winter must come, and the falling of the leaves is not a punishment. It's a preparation. The tree trusts the rhythm, knowing that spring will bring new growth. The same rhythm exists in your life. People come and go, jobs change, dreams evolve. You are constantly being invited to shed the layers that no longer serve who you are becoming. Holding on to what's not meant for you delays that natural process and keeps you rooted in the past, while life itself keeps flowing forward. Letting go requires a shift in perspective, from control to cooperation. Most people try to control outcomes because they fear uncertainty. They need to know how the story ends, who will stay, what will happen, how things will unfold. But control is just another word for fear wearing a clever disguise. The moment you try to manage every detail of life, you close the door on the infinite intelligence that is already guiding you. Think about how your heart beats, how your breath flows, how the planets move, all without your command. There is an intelligence at work far greater than your plans, And letting go is aligning yourself with that intelligence. Letting go doesn't mean becoming careless or indifferent. It doesn't mean you stop caring about people or dreams. It means you stop forcing outcomes that aren't ready or right. It means you participate fully, give your best, and then allow life to handle the rest. You plant the seed, but you don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You trust the soil, the sun, and the timing. The same trust must apply to your relationships, ambitions, and inner transformation. If something or someone is meant for you, no distance or delay will keep it away. If it's not meant for you, no amount of effort will make it stay. When you begin to live this way, peace enters where panic once lived. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" The lesson of letting go is often the lesson of surrender, the ability to be at peace, even when you don't have all the answers. It's an education in humility, patience, and trust. It teaches you that life is not happening against you, it's happening for you. In the classroom of life, letting go is one of the most advanced subjects. It demands maturity of spirit. It teaches that every ending has a purpose, that rejection can be redirection, and that sometimes the things you lose are the very things that make room for what you've prayed for. You cannot invite something new into a space that's already crowded with the old. This is why releasing is an act of creation. By letting go, you clear the space for something better, more aligned, more alive. Think of your life as a symphony. Each note has its time, some short, some long, some loud, some soft. If you tried to hold one note forever, the music would stop. The beauty of the song depends on change, on movement, on trust that the next note will come when it's meant to. In the same way, when one chapter of your life ends, the music hasn't stopped. It's only shifting into a new key. When you practice letting go, you begin to notice how life supports you in unexpected ways. You lose a job, and a new opportunity appears that fits your true passion. A relationship ends, and you rediscover yourself in the silence. A plan collapses, and in its place, a better vision is born. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations that you are never abandoned by the flow of life. Every time you let go of something that was weighing you down, you rise a little higher in awareness. You begin to live lighter, freer, more present. You stop measuring your worth by what stays and instead find it in your ability to stay centered no matter what leaves. You begin to understand that loss is never truly loss when seen from a higher view. It is transformation, evolution, and sometimes protection. So, to let go is to trust that life is intelligent, that it knows what to remove and what to deliver, that its timing is exact even when it doesn't match your expectations. Letting go is not losing. It's learning to dance with life's rhythm instead of fighting its tempo. It's understanding that faith is not believing everything will go your way, it's believing you'll be okay even when it doesn't. And that, perhaps, is the greatest education your soul will ever receive. Resistance creates suffering, acceptance opens new doors. It sounds simple, almost too simple, yet it carries within it one of the greatest truths of human experience. Most of the pain we feel in life does not come from the situations themselves, but from our resistance to them. The event, the loss, the change, these are neutral. What creates suffering is the mind's insistence that things should be different than they are. We fight with reality, and in that inner conflict, we lose our peace. Imagine standing in a river, trying to stop the current with your hands. The harder you push against it, the more exhausted you become, and yet the water keeps flowing. The river doesn't argue, it simply continues its natural path. In life, resistance is that same futile struggle against what already is. Acceptance, on the other hand, is stepping aside and allowing the current to carry you. It doesn't mean you stop swimming or that you give up on where you want to go. It means you stop wasting energy on fighting what you cannot change and start aligning yourself with what life is presenting to you. So often, people believe acceptance is weakness, that it means surrendering to mediocrity or injustice. But acceptance is not passivity. It is clarity. It's the understanding that before you can change anything, you must first see it clearly for what it is. You can't heal a wound you refuse to look at. You can't transform a situation you keep judging. Acceptance is the space where awareness begins. It's not approval of everything that happens. It's simply saying, this is what's here right now, and I will meet it with awareness rather than anger. From that space, real transformation can occur. Resistance creates tension within the body and turmoil within the mind. It's like holding your breath and wondering why you feel suffocated. Every time you say, this shouldn't be happening, you tighten your grip on pain. Life unfolds moment by moment, and every moment invites you either to resist or to accept. The choice determines whether you experience suffering or peace. When you resist, you shut the door to wisdom. You block the lessons that each experience carries. But when you accept, the same moment becomes a teacher. You begin to see patterns, understand emotions, and release the need to control what cannot be controlled. Think of a storm. You can't stop it, no matter how much you yell at the clouds. You can, however, close your windows, find shelter, and trust that it will pass. Resistance would have you standing outside, shaking your fist at the sky, while acceptance allows you to observe and prepare. In every hardship, there is a rhythm, a cycle. Nothing is permanent. The night gives way to dawn, grief gives way to peace, endings give way to beginnings. The sooner you accept that change is the law of life, the sooner you move from fear to flow. Acceptance doesn't mean you have to like what's happening. You may not like losing a job, facing an illness, or going through heartbreak. But by accepting it, you stop adding mental suffering to the natural pain of the situation. Pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. Suffering is what happens when you replay the event, attach stories to it, and refuse to let it pass. Acceptance says, yes, this hurts, but I trust that there is something here for me to learn, and I will not let this pain define me. In that moment, you reclaim your power. There is an intelligence within every experience, even the ones that seem unfair or senseless. The human mind, however, wants logic, certainty, and control. It cannot tolerate ambiguity, so when things fall apart, the mind resists, insisting that it knows better than life itself. But if you look closely, you will see that every major growth in your life came after something you resisted. You lost someone and discovered self-reliance. You failed at something and uncovered a deeper passion. You faced rejection and learned self-worth. Life breaks us open not to destroy us but to awaken us. Acceptance is also the birthplace of creativity. When you stop resisting what is, you free up the energy that was being wasted on denial, anger, or fear. That energy can then be channeled into action, healing, and creation. You begin to respond instead of react. You become solution-oriented instead of problem-obsessed. This is how acceptance opens new doors. It shifts your focus from what's missing to what's possible, from what went wrong to what can be learned, from despair to direction. When you practice acceptance, you become present. The mind can't accept and resist at the same time. One is rooted in the now, the other is trapped in the past or the future. To accept the present moment as it is means to live fully awake, no longer postponing peace until circumstances change. You discover that peace is not something that happens when life is perfect. Peace is what happens when you stop arguing with imperfection. The great paradox is that acceptance often becomes the very key that changes what once seemed unchangeable. When you release resistance, you stop sending out energy of fear, frustration, and force. Instead, you radiate calm, openness, and readiness. And in that state, opportunities, solutions, and insights begin to appear where previously there were only walls. Life responds differently to a calm heart than it does to a clenched fist. Resistance is rooted in fear. Fear that if we let go, we'll lose control, that if we accept, we'll be defeated. But control is an illusion, and defeat is just a story we tell ourselves. Life isn't asking for control, it's asking for cooperation. It's asking us to participate in its flow, To trust that even when things don't go our way, they are still going the right way. Acceptance is the education of the soul. It teaches you that your peace is not dependent on outside conditions, but on your inner relationship with the moment. It invites you to stop fighting reality and start learning from it. When you do, the world doesn't necessarily change, but the way you see it does. And that change in perception is where true freedom begins. You cannot receive what's meant for you if your hands are full of what's not. This is one of life's most profound lessons, and yet it is one most people resist learning. We live in a world that glorifies accumulation. More possessions, more titles, more validation, more control. But spiritual growth is not about gathering, it's about clearing. It's about creating space so that the right things, people, and experiences can find you. When you hold on to what's no longer serving you, an old belief, a toxic relationship, a failed dream, or even guilt from the past, you block the flow of new blessings that are trying to enter. You cannot grasp tomorrow if you're still clutching yesterday. Imagine trying to drink from a full cup. There's no room for anything new. If someone tries to pour into it, the liquid simply spills over and is wasted. Life works in the same way. The universe, with its endless wisdom, is always trying to fill your cup with growth, love, peace, and purpose. But if that cup is already filled with fear, resentment, or attachments, nothing new can enter. The process of receiving requires emptiness. It requires you to trust that the act of releasing does not diminish you but renews you. We often confuse holding on with loyalty or perseverance. We say things like, "I can't give up now," or, "I've already invested so much." But there is a difference between commitment and attachment. Commitment is the devotion of your energy towards something that aligns with your purpose. Attachment is the fear of losing something that has already completed its purpose. Many stay trapped in jobs that drain them, relationships that confine them, or beliefs that limit them because they mistake familiarity for fulfillment. What they don't realize is that clinging to what's familiar keeps them from discovering what's destined. Think about a caterpillar. When it enters the cocoon, it must surrender its old form completely. If it resists the transformation, it dies as a caterpillar. Only through the dissolution of what it once was can it become the butterfly it was meant to be. The same process applies to human evolution. You can't soar with new wings while clutching the branches of the past. The moment you release what's holding you down, you rise into a higher state of being. Letting go of what's not meant for you requires faith. Faith that life is not random, that it doesn't remove without reason. When one door closes, it is because a better one cannot open until your hands are free to turn the handle. Yet most people spend their energy banging on the closed door, weeping over what was, while the open one stands quietly behind them. The great challenge of growth is not in losing, but in learning to trust that every ending is simply a rearrangement in your favor. Our minds are programmed to seek safety, not freedom. We hold on because we fear emptiness, believing that if we release, we'll be left with nothing. But the emptiness you fear is the very space where miracles are born. In the quiet space between what was and what will be, your next chapter gathers strength. You are never left empty for long. Nature abhors a vacuum, so does your soul. Once you release what's wrong, what's right finds its way in, effortlessly. Many people pray for new blessings while still holding on to the old burdens. They ask for peace but cling to chaos. They ask for love but hold on to resentment. They ask for abundance but remain attached to scarcity. Life cannot deliver one vibration while you're broadcasting another. If you want peace, make room for it. If you want love, clear away bitterness. If you want abundance, release your fear of lack. Energy is like water. It flows where space is made available. There's also an emotional truth hidden within this principle. You cannot receive healing while you're still identifying with your wounds. You cannot receive forgiveness while you're still punishing yourself. You cannot receive wisdom while insisting that you already know. The ego wants to keep everything, every story, every label, every belief, because it feels safer in the known, even if the known is painful. The spirit, however, knows that true safety lies in surrender. In releasing what weighs you down, you rediscover the freedom that was never lost. Think of the seasons. The trees don't mourn their fallen leaves. They don't cling to the branches of last season's growth. They shed without resistance, trusting that what is lost will return in new form. This is how life renews itself, through cycles of release and renewal. When you let go, you are not losing, you are participating in life's sacred rhythm. You become part of a greater intelligence that knows exactly when to remove, when to replenish, and when to bloom. There's also a practical dimension to this lesson. When your life is cluttered, mentally, emotionally, or physically, your energy becomes fragmented. You feel tired, distracted, and uninspired. But when you begin to declutter, to say no to what drains you, to release what no longer adds value, clarity returns. Suddenly, you start noticing new opportunities, new insights, new possibilities that were always there, but hidden behind the noise of excess. Receiving what's meant for you is not about chasing or striving. It's about aligning. It's about becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts what matches your vibration. When you let go of what's not meant for you, you raise your energy. You begin to resonate with peace, joy, and authenticity, and life responds in kind. The right people show up. The right ideas emerge. The right timing unfolds. So many people think success is about doing more, pushing harder, and forcing results. But often, success begins with subtraction. It begins when you stop trying to control and start allowing. The most beautiful things in life arrive not because you chase them, but because you've made room for them. To truly receive, your hand's heart and mind must be open. You cannot receive new wisdom with a closed mind. You cannot receive love with a closed heart. You cannot receive blessings with clenched fists. Life gives most freely to those who have learned how to release. When you understand this, letting go becomes no longer something to fear, but something to celebrate, because it means your next blessing is already on its way. What's aligned with your spirit will never truly leave you. The things, people, and opportunities that belong to your soul have an energy that cannot be erased by distance, time, or circumstance. They may step out of your life for a season, they may take on new forms, or they may return in ways you never expected, but they never vanish completely. What is meant for your growth, your peace, and your purpose has a magnetic connection to you. It exists on a level deeper than logic, deeper than emotion, deeper even than desire. It exists on the level of energy, and energy, by its very nature, cannot be lost. Life often tests this truth through absence. Someone you love drifts away, a dream you cherished dissolves, a door you prayed would open remains shut. In those moments, it's easy to believe that you've lost something precious forever. But the spiritual reality is that nothing truly aligned with your highest self can ever be taken from you. It may change its shape, its timing, or its expression, but its essence remains connected to you. Sometimes, what leaves your life is only the form, not the truth behind it. The relationship might end, but the love that was born from it remains within you as compassion. The job may disappear, but the purpose it awakened continues to guide you toward your next chapter. We often think of alignment as something external, the right partner, the perfect career, the ideal circumstance. But alignment begins within. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions are in harmony with the deepest truth of who you are, everything around you begins to mirror that inner state. Life becomes a reflection of your energy. What's meant for you vibrates at your natural frequency. When you live authentically, you stop chasing what's temporary and begin attracting what's timeless. Sometimes, what appears to leave is simply being removed so it can return when you are ready for it. The universe has impeccable timing, and it never withholds. It prepares. You might not have lost the thing you think you've lost. You may have simply outgrown the version of yourself that could hold it. A dream delayed is not a dream denied, it's a dream being refined. The same current that brings opportunities into your life also carries away what no longer fits your vibration. If you could see life from a higher vantage point, you would realize that every exit has purpose, every delay has meaning, and every ending is an invisible beginning. Many people live with the fear that good things won't last. They cling tightly to what they love, hoping to preserve it, control it, or keep it safe from change. But the tighter you hold, the more you restrict the natural flow of life. What's aligned with your spirit does not require force to remain. It stays because it belongs, and if it must leave, it departs with grace, because its work in your life has been completed. In truth, nothing that is truly yours can be taken from you, and nothing that is not yours can be made to stay. Think of the seasons. The leaves fall, the trees stand bare, and yet we never doubt that spring will return. Nature doesn't panic when it sheds, it trusts in cycles. The same intelligence that guides the earth guides your life. When something departs, it's only creating space for what's meant to blossom next. You are never abandoned, you are being rearranged. The rhythm of your soul is synchronized with the rhythm of the universe. Always moving, always renewing, always aligning. To understand alignment, you must learn the difference between attachment and connection. Attachment clings from fear. Connection flows from love. Attachment says, I need this to be happy. Connection says, I am grateful this is part of my journey. When you live from attachment, you suffer each time something changes. But when you live from connection, you realize that even if something ends, its essence continues to live within you. You can love without possession, you can hope without demand, you can care without control. That is the freedom of alignment. When you trust this process, you stop begging life to give you back what you think you've lost. Instead, you open your heart to what's coming. The energy of longing transforms into the energy of allowance. You move from scarcity to abundance, from fear to faith. You begin to understand that your spirit is not on a mission to collect things. It's on a mission to evolve. Anything that leaves your life does so, because your spirit no longer needs it for its evolution. Anything that remains or returns does so, because it continues to serve your highest good. There are relationships that end, yet their influence continues to bless you years later. There are opportunities that pass by, yet they teach you the patience and preparation needed for something greater. There are moments that break you open, yet they become the reason you grow softer, wiser, and more compassionate. What's aligned with your spirit does not need to be permanent to be powerful. Its purpose is to awaken something within you. And once that purpose is fulfilled, it transcends time and form. Alignment is a partnership between your soul and the universe. When you live authentically, the world responds to that truth. You don't need to chase alignment, you need to become it. You become it by choosing honesty over approval, peace over drama, and growth over comfort. The more you align with your essence, the more effortlessly life aligns around you. It's like tuning a radio. When you're on the right frequency, the static fades, and the message comes through clearly. What's meant for you will recognize you by your vibration, not by your striving. If you've ever had something return to you unexpectedly, a person, a passion, an opportunity, you've experienced this truth. It didn't come back because you chased it. It came back because you had grown into the version of yourself capable of receiving it. The connection was never lost, it was simply waiting for alignment. You are never separate from what belongs to your soul. Even when it seems gone, it's working its way back in divine timing, or transforming into a higher form of the same truth. What's aligned with your spirit cannot leave, because it is your spirit, expressed through the people, places, and experiences that help you remember who you really are. The task is not to hold on, but to trust that what's meant for you is already yours, and it's only ever waiting for your readiness to receive it fully. Surrender is the bridge between struggle and peace. It is the point at which the restless mind, exhausted from endless fighting, finally bows to the wisdom of life. For most people, surrender sounds like defeat, like giving up, like waving a white flag in the face of adversity. But that is a misunderstanding born from ego, not truth. Surrender is not about quitting. It's about releasing the illusion of control. It is the moment you stop resisting the flow of life and allow yourself to be carried by something far greater than your limited will. From the time we are young, we are taught to strive, to push, to make things happen. We're told that success belongs to those who never stop fighting, who bend the world to their desires. And there is value in effort, in discipline, in vision. But effort without surrender is like rowing a boat upstream forever. You may move a little, but you will tire quickly, and peace will remain a distant shore. The paradox of surrender is that when you stop fighting against life, life begins to move in your favor. The struggle you thought you needed is replaced by flow, and what once felt heavy begins to unfold with grace. Imagine a leaf floating on a river. The leaf doesn't know where the current will take it, but it trusts the movement of the water. It doesn't resist, it doesn't panic, it doesn't demand to know what lies around the next bend. It simply allows itself to be carried. This is the essence of surrender, trusting that the same intelligence that makes the sun rise and the seasons change is also guiding the course of your life. You are not here to control the current, you are here to learn how to flow with it. Struggle arises when you insist that life must obey your conditions. You say, "I'll be happy when this happens," or "I'll trust when things go my way." That conditional mindset is the root of suffering. Surrender begins when you release those conditions and open yourself to what is, rather than clinging to what should be. It is a decision to trade your anxiety for alignment, your tension for trust. The moment you stop fighting reality, you begin to experience peace, because peace is not the absence of challenge. It is the absence of resistance. Many people mistake surrender for passivity, believing it means sitting idly and letting life happen to you. But surrender is active participation. It is saying, "I will give my best effort, but I will not try to control the outcome." It's about doing your part, showing up, working, loving, creating, and then releasing attachment to how things unfold. You don't stop acting, you stop grasping. You begin to understand that outcomes are not your job, alignment is. Once you align your actions with truth and integrity, you can let go of worry because you've done your part. Life will handle the rest in its own timing. Surrender requires humility. It asks you to admit that you do not know everything, that your perspective is limited, that your plans may not always serve your highest good. There is a wisdom that surpasses logic, a divine orchestration that rearranges circumstances in ways your mind could never predict. How many times have you looked back at your life and realized that what you once thought was a setback was actually a setup for something better? That realization is the reward of surrender. You see that life was never working against you, it was working for you all along, even when it didn't match your expectations. When you cling to control, you live in tension. You become anxious, fearful, and reactive. Every uncertainty feels like a threat, every delay feels like failure. But when you surrender, you enter a state of openness. You no longer demand that life prove its fairness before you trust it. You trust first, and peace follows. Surrender transforms your inner posture, from clenched fists to open palms. You move from pushing life to partnering with it. Think of a seed buried in the soil. It doesn't resist the darkness. It doesn't rush the process. It simply surrenders to growth. It allows the soil, the rain, and the sunlight to do their work. In time, it breaks open, not because it forced its way upward, but because it trusted the process of unfolding. In the same way, surrender doesn't mean you stop desiring or dreaming. It means you stop forcing. You allow your dreams to unfold through you, not by you. You trust the timing of your becoming. Surrender is also the art of releasing fear. Most control is rooted in fear. Fear of loss, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. The mind believes that if it can control everything, it can stay safe. But safety doesn't come from control, it comes from connection. Connection to the deeper truth that you are always supported. The moment you trust that life is not chaotic but intelligent, not cruel but compassionate, your fear begins to dissolve. You realize that surrender is not the end of control, it's the beginning of real power. When you surrender, creativity awakens. Your mind becomes clear, your intuition sharpens, and you begin to act from inspiration rather than desperation. You start noticing synchronicities, people, opportunities, and insights that seem to appear at just the right time. This is not coincidence, it's coherence. It's what happens when your energy aligns with the flow of life. You become a co-creator rather than a controller, and what you create carries the effortless quality of grace. Every great transformation in life is born from surrender. Healing begins when you stop fighting the pain and allow it to teach you. Love deepens when you stop trying to control another person and simply allow them to be. Growth happens when you stop resisting change and step into uncertainty with faith. The greatest breakthroughs come not from pushing harder, but from letting go more deeply. Surrender is not about losing your power. It's about discovering where your true power resides. It's about realizing that peace is not something you chase, it's something you allow. When you let go of your need to control life, you don't fall apart, you fall into place. The bridge between struggle and peace is built the moment you decide to trust the flow instead of fight it. And once you cross that bridge, you'll never want to go back. When you step back and look at all these truths together, letting go, acceptance, openness, alignment, and surrender, you begin to see that they are not separate teachings, but different expressions of the same wisdom. Life is not meant to be controlled, it is meant to be cooperated with. The same force that spins the planets, grows the trees, and beats your heart is guiding your journey. Your task is not to push against it, but to move with it, to live in harmony with what is unfolding. Letting go teaches you that clinging creates pain, and that freedom begins where fear ends. Acceptance shows you that peace is found not in perfect conditions, but in your willingness to meet life as it is. Openness clears the space for what is truly meant for you, reminding you that emptiness is not loss but preparation. Alignment reveals that what belongs to your spirit will always find you, because it vibrates at the same frequency as your truth.